Hi everybody, this is Heather Lucky with Brilliant Journeys, and I know it's been literally a hot minute, but as you know, I've been traveling. If you follow me on the Facebook and the Twitters and the Instagrams, you know that I've been just everywhere. But I'm here to talk today about my recent trip to South Africa. So my little African t-shirt and my bracelet and these lovely earrings. Just to kind of wrap it all into one emotional bubble, it was a life-changing experience. I want to kind of hit the highlights and the do's and the don'ts and what I think that you should see. I was honored enough to be a Acclaim agent with Trafalgar Tours, and they so kindly had hosted me on this trip. So whenever I got my announcement, this was my announcement. So this really cool travel bag, and then it had my itinerary in it. So, I mean, what a way to get excited, you know, you get a suitcase in the mail. So super stoked. So I left on my birthday, which is August 3rd. So I spent my entire birthday on a plane for 14 hours. So you would think that, like, I guess that I'm not 37 now. I stayed 36 because I stayed on the plane the whole time. That's how that works, right? So I arrived in Johannesburg. Let me back up a little bit, actually. So JFK, you absolutely need 3 hours minimum to get through TSA and all that fun stuff. I have TSA pre-check, and for whatever reason, it was not operating that morning. So I was in line for a good hour, 15 hour, 20 minutes trying to get through TSA. So that being said, getting on the plane, getting off to Johannesburg was a cinch. Like 6 hours into the flight, I was kind of over it, but what are you gonna do? So I always recommend for people to actually drink a lot of water. You're drying out quite a bit whenever you are up there, and getting up and just going to the bathroom really kind of reminds you, hey, you need to get up and move. So I drank like a ton of water when I was there, and I was on the aisle seat, of course. So just a little tip for you, definitely get your water in whenever you are on a plane for that long, because it's maddening after a while. So definitely get up, move around. So upon arrival into Johannesburg, there was long lines for passport control. So if you are connecting, you do need at least a couple hours to get through passport control, pick up your bags and recheck. Friendly reminder, always check with your airlines about your weight limits. I know for sure my weight limits was 44 pounds, and oh my gosh, I celebrated. I threw myself a party that I actually got under 44 pounds because I am a overpacker. But that's also like, I had other stuff in a backup bag because, you know, you never know what you're going to need. And I actually ended up taking too many shoes, and just don't be me in that regard. So our very first night, we got to Cape Town and checked into the hotel. Hotel's great, but be aware that their plug situation is obviously different than ours. For whatever reason, the entire time we were in Africa, there was never a plug in the bathroom. And then if there wasn't a plug in the bathroom, if there was one in the living room, the hotel we initially stayed at, which was gorgeous, it was 15 on Orange there at Cape Town, there wasn't a mirror to do your hair or fix your makeup or anything next to a plug. So I had to like take my phone and strategically place it like on a picture frame, and I'm trying to do my hair while trying to see myself. So just FYI, maybe bring a little pocket mirror kind of thing. I know some people actually keep a compact mirror in their luggage at all times, which is super smart. So our first evening was so memorable because we went to this restaurant called The Gold, or Golden. It was one of those, but whenever you walked in, there was a live performance. It was kind of like a dinner theater, and they had a drum. So drums sitting at your chair, and you got to drum along with the performers, which was super fun and such a great stress reliever. Honestly, it was really cool. Next day, so we went to the beach and we saw the penguins, and just phenomenal, just gorgeous. Had our gala that evening with Trafalgar, and it was just, of course, magical. We had so much fun. Next day, we went to Knysna. Incredible coastline views, and it is a little bit of a drive from Cape Town to Knysna. That's where I got this adorable t-shirt and these fabulous little earrings. Coastal, just again, like, I just didn't know that these places existed within Africa. Like, you think Africa, you think safari. You don't think of much of what else is involved with Africa, especially in South Africa. And so we, the next day, went to Featherbed Nature Preserve, and with Trafalgar, that is an optional experience. I say it's a must-do. It's a must-do. We took a boat to get over to the reserve, and once you get off the boat, you are driven by a van up to the top of a mountain, and then you hike down. And it's not a very difficult hike. If you have bad knees, you may want to skip it. They will also take the van back down to where you have lunch if you have bad knees, or can't really do stairs. There was a lot of like jagged rocks and walking of that way. But once you kind of got down into it, it was so incredible. The whole walk was probably about 45 minutes to an hour. It wasn't very long at all. And then once you got on the other side of it, they had this gorgeous lunch, just this beautiful lodge kind of area. And they served incredible food. Like, the buffet was just out of this world. I have discovered that I am in love with South African, like, bread pudding. It's no different than any other bread pudding, but bread pudding is just delicious, just sugar and sauce and bread. Like, I mean, it's phenomenal. So, kind of backing up some facts about South Africa. They actually have 11 official languages, which is really fascinating. We did hear some Afrikaans spoken along with English, some Zulu, but those were kind of the three main that I picked up. Of course, the other 7 languages, I would have kind of no idea. 8 languages, I would have no idea what they're saying, or be able to hear it. But it was really, really cool to kind of know that they have such a wide variety of languages that are official in their country. There was another walk to, I'm going to butcher this word, it was Kruger Park, and there was a suspension bridge. And I would say this was kind of a moderate. There was a lot of stairs. So again, if you have bad knees, bad backs, or just can't do far distances, definitely you probably want to take a break on this one. But if you are so physically able to do it, or even if you're not sure, like I was unsure about it, honestly, I've got some junk in my trunk, and working out is helping get it all into check. However, by the end of it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna drop. It was crazy. Okay, I'm gonna take a breather because, oh my God, it's not horrible, but there's quite a bit of stairs. So I've made it halfway, but I'm gonna stop and enjoy this view right now. It's my little camp over there. Lunch awaits. So just wanted to give an update. Wow, that was challenging. It wasn't horrible, but there was a lot of stairs, like a lot of stairs. So for that, I'd like to thank Vicki Lou, my personal trainer, who has made me strong enough to get through those stairs. So thanks, Vicki. Hi. Here's a reward for you. Look at this gorgeous view. Incredible. Oh, I am zoomed in. Okay. Bye, guys. Okay, so I just did it was about a half-hour long hike to get up here. My legs are absolutely jello, but oh my gosh, how could I miss this? It's just way too incredible. Remember the SNL skit, Deep Thoughts by Jack Handey? I feel like this is what one of the landscapes would be while he's talking about his deep thoughts. So, alright guys, I'm going to hopefully make it back to this place right over here. See, this is where I've got to walk to. So, wish me luck. But we did get to see the closest relative to an elephant, which is called a dossie, and it's this little cute little rodent looking thing, which I was like, I have no idea how it's related to an elephant, but their DNAs are actually very similar. But it was so cute, you just wanted to cuddle it. It looked like it probably could eat your face, but it was adorable. He's so cute.
Pick him up.
Yeah, okay.
You pick him up and I'll get your picture.
Oh. Will you visit me in the hospital when I have rabies?
I'll stay with you.
That's so nice of you. This whole thing is being recorded as well, too.
Since you didn't get travel insurance.
I did not.
You did not get medical attention.
So after that, we went on to our lighter luggage, like requirement flight, if you will. So from Port Elizabeth to Johannesburg, we took a flight to there. Johannesburg, oh my goodness. We stayed in a very beautiful area. You could see, I'm not gonna lie, you could see some poverty. You see a lot of poverty. Kind of going back to the South Africa facts, the unemployment rate is about 25%, roughly. There were some towns around the airports that, you know, were so minimal, and I mean, a shack at best. And my heart just actually went out to those folks that, you know, wanted to have jobs. I had read Trevor Noah's book right before I left for South Africa, and he described it as, you know, you teach a man to fish and he can fish, but how is he going to fish without a pole? So there were just no job opportunities. And so I do recommend whenever you are walking around, walk with a group of people. Don't walk around by yourselves in these larger cities. It is very dangerous. So I always recommend go with a group. Johannesburg, we had a fabulous meal. It was wonderful. And the next day we went to the Apartheid Museum. And if you're not familiar with South African history, apartheid ended around 1996, 1994, around there. So fairly recently, honestly. Of course, you know about Nelson Mandela. If you don't, highly recommend you read up on Mandela and his fight for the freedom and for Black and colored people and for everybody to be equal. And that's what this museum kind of showcased. Not necessarily Mandela, but apartheid on its own, like what it was and how it affected the people. It was right up there. It was a fabulous museum. It was very well executed. It was right up there with like a Holocaust museum. It was very emotional to watch and to see the turmoil that these folks had gone through, and it was very hard, very, very hard to see. But I think it's important to understand the people and to understand the history of a place. You kind of have to get in with the nitty gritty. So you want the good with the bad. But it was beautiful. It was something that I felt like I had to experience, and it was, yeah, I can't say enough about it. It was actually sponsored by the casino, and it's next to an amusement park, which I was like, okay, that's weird. But that's where it is because that's the money that funded it. So anyway, if you're in Joburg, go see the Apartheid Museum. And also, we didn't get a chance to see Soweto, but Soweto is a very interesting neighborhood within Joburg. I really wish that we got to see more of that area. I believe Soweto, God, please South Africans don't murder me. I believe that's where Mandela had spent some time, and I don't think he was born in that area, I don't believe. But anyway, didn't get to go over there. Definitely would love to go back and just explore more of Johannesburg because we only had like a day, so would have loved to have seen more. And then after that, we drove over to Hazy View, and then we had our next morning was our highlight, of course, was the safari. We got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Definitely recommend dressing in layers because it is cold in the morning. But after noon, you definitely want to peel. It gets very hot. So left at 4:15 in the morning, got to Kruger. We went to Kruger National Park. Another note that I want to make here, Kruger, the national parks allow in a certain amount of vehicles a day versus a private reserve, a private game reserve only allows like 2 to 3 vehicles in a day. So if you want a more customized, more unique experience, I do recommend actually going more with the private game reserve versus a national park. The national park, when we pulled up to an animal, there was probably about 6 to 10 cars next to that animal as well. So you have all these people out there with their cameras. You know, doing a private game reserve might be more beneficial if you're looking for something a little bit more bespoke. But so imagine this, you're out there, you have a blanket over your lap, you are bundled up, you just had your coffee, a little bit of light breakfast, and you're driving in and the sun's coming up over the Serengeti and it's coming up over the savannas. And, you know, you are going through, there is giraffes. Like I have the most fabulous photo of some giraffes, like just kind of crossing our paths with the sun coming up in the background. And it was just out of this world amazing. As we continued on, we saw 4 of the big 5. So the big 5 are white rhinos, it is elephants, it is the water buffalo, it is the jaguar, which we didn't get to see, and lions. So we got to see all of those except for the jaguar, which apparently is very, very difficult to spot. You would think being able to see spotty animal like that, they would be fairly easy, but they actually blend in very, very well. So, but one of the most exciting things we did get to see was we almost got to see a hunt. So we saw 2 lions kind of making their way around and a pack of impalas. And the impalas, whenever they are warning each other that there's danger ahead, make a snorting noise like a horse. And I actually got this all in video, so watch this video right here.
Where are they at? Right over there? Straight through the bushes. Look at them. Oh, they're looking. Look at them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Look at that. And they see them now.
Yeah, the sound is like for alarm. There it is. Come the line.
I can hear them snorting. Oh my God, there they go. There's the lion. There she is.
Just walk. Yeah, so they're danger in the area. Yeah, why not just all run?
Yeah, they're going away. Yeah, I don't think they're hungry right now. So my question is...
Okay, so super cool, right? And so in the afternoon, we stopped, we got some coffee, had a little bit of breakfast, and then in the afternoon, we went back out for a second drive. Honestly, guys, I don't think that the afternoon drives are worth it. If it were me, if I had to redo it, I would do 2 morning drives back to back because the animals, it just gets too warm and they're just done. They're done for the day. And that's even in like winter. So I just got back. So it is winter now in Africa. And so it was cool. It was cool outside. So up until that point, like in the afternoon, you know, it gets hot. Like we were talking probably about 85, 90 degrees or so. So we did actually get to see a lot of animals in the morning. In the afternoon, it was just scarce. You just didn't see much at all. We saw a few more elephants over by the watering hole. and whatnot, but nothing that was like, oh my gosh, we were really striving to see that jaguar, and it just didn't happen. Somebody else on another drive actually did see all 5, including the jaguar. So after our long day, had dinner, came back, rested up, we had a cultural experience with a Zulu tribe. And honestly, I had to say the 2 things that I thought were just the most amazing things were the safari, of course. Like, I mean, how can you pass up like a safari and not think that that was amazing? But the second thing was definitely this cultural experience we had with the Zulu tribe. And the tribe they danced, they sang, and kind of introduced us to what their culture was all about.
This dance is Domba. Domba is the ritual dance performed by the young Venda girls during initiation ceremony when a chief chooses a wife. The movement itself, it looks like a large snake. That's why we call it a python dance.
We did have a little dinner created by them with pap. Pap is kind of like a, almost like a hominy, and then you can scrape it up with like this sweet tomato sauce. It was really good. And they made chicken for us. And then if you wanted to and felt so inclined, they also cooked mappo worms. And so if you wanted to try these worms, you were able to do that. And I chose not to. One was not on my plate, so I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna pass. But the worms, people said they like they popped in your mouth and like was gooey and blah. So anyway, I did not. And then after that, we made our way to the airport, took a very small flight over to Cape Town, and we had 2 nights left in Cape Town. So came back to Cape Town, back to the beautiful 15 on Orange Hotel. And then the next day we went to a winery that's been around since 1715. It's like 9 generations of winemakers, and they specialize in like a pinotage, which was amazing. I actually brought a couple bottles home. And then we also, the day after that, tried to make our way up to Table Mountain. Table Mountain was in hiding the whole time that we were there. It was just cool and hazy, and so just wasn't gonna happen. We walked around, did a few markets as a group, and then came home. The flight coming back, and everybody always says that, seems not as long as the flight going over. So it was incredible. Such a wonderful trip. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Trafalgar did an outstanding job. Food was incredible over there, and there was something there for everyone. My roommate was a little picky as far as like her preferences, like with meat and stuff, and there were tons of vegetarian options. So definitely get out to South Africa. Besides animals, it's so much more than animals. It's history, it's culture. The people are passionate. Our guide, she was amazing. Her name was Adele, so shout out to Adele. She had told me how she wanted to become a guide, and how, apartheid actually affected that, because her father said, you have 2 options. She said she was born colorblind. She grew up on a farm, and the children that she played with were the children that helped on the farm. And so they went to their school and she went to her school, and she just never understood why. And so her father had said, you have a choice here. Whenever she left university, you can either work for the government, which is a government that you don't agree with their policies, or you can work in tourism and spread the word and, create a positive impact. And that's what she chose to do. And she has been a guide for like 25, 30 years, something like that. So she was wonderful, and God bless her. She was so patient with all of us. So Anyway, thank you to Trafalgar, and thank you so much, everybody, for watching this. If you have any questions, if you want to talk to me more about my experiences in South Africa, please hit me up. But you can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can follow me to find out more about tips, tricks, and deals. Bye! It is an antelope or some shit. I don't know.